Hello?
How you doing?
How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, man. How's it going?
We just went through this. You just asked me this. I answered. I'm doing good. I was just telling Claudine I like how you gave her a shout out and we came to party.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that was the first. Yeah. I gave her one and my man Richie White, and I gave a couple of people. Yeah, it's funny.
And we'll get to that song in a little bit because you talk about the Grammys in that one too. But I guess we'll start with what you're up to today because you took over the Knicks Twitter today. Why, and how'd that come about? And what was it like?
I'm just, look, when you live in LA, and people just automatically assume that they just lump you in as a Laker fan, and it's like, the Knicks over the years, I got to be honest, it's been really hard for me to root for them over the years because, ever since Pat Ewing promised me that they was going to beat Jordan in the finals, and then they got beat 4 straight after they were up 3-0. I've been mad a little bit, but I'm just so happy for the Knicks and happy for Carmelo to see them doing what they're doing that I just wanted to support them and show them love because, at the end of the day, I'm a New Yorker first, and I got to represent.
Of course. Talk about representing. You talk about, even on the opening track on Bassel, you talk about being scared to come back into the rap game. How come?
Yeah.
How come?
Yeah. Because I think that, it's just like when you don't do something, when you don't introduce music for so long to people, and times change and the eras change, and the faces change, and different stars emerge, and people kind of think that you're off doing something else and only care about doing something else. It can rattle you. You know what I'm saying? But it make you a little fearful. But then at the end of the day, if you're an artist that's true, and if you're prepared, and if you know that you're gonna do your best, and if you know that you're gonna dig deep and really deliver what you believe to be the best material that you can at that time, then you get over that and you move past it. But I just wanted to be real transparent about where I'm at with it. You know what I mean?
And are you writing the whole time? While you say you're off doing other stuff, are you writing lyrics? Like, are you someone who knows there's going to be another musical project coming down the road? So are you always writing, keeping lyrics, thinking of beats?
I always, I'm funny. I always think of lyrics. I don't always write them down. But I believe in I think your soul needs a refill sometimes of just stimulus and just the world and looking at the world and seeing things. And, sometimes you gotta let all of the energy surrounding whatever project you're coming off and get out of your system so that you can just give people a brand new, fresh perspective and a fresh outlook. And that's what I did.
Yeah. So how do you go about doing that for a record like Authentic?
Well, what I did was I just decided that I'm not going to limit myself, and I'm not going to allow myself to be pigeonholed into a box, and I'm not going to go out and try to, fool the public by getting every young musician and every young rapper or pop artist that I can find and throw them on my album. I'm going to work with people that really appeal to my taste and that I really care about and respect as artists. And I'm going to do something for the art of music and do something that I feel is making a contribution to the world of music instead of trying to create a pop moment. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And anyone who puts Bootsy Collins on a record, I just love immediately. And I like how people are trying to keep him in the consciousness of today because he's one of those guys that should never be forgotten. He's amazing at everything he does.
Absolutely, man. I think he's super talented. The way he plays the bass, his history, his culture. I mean, plus he sounds so good on that record. It's so funny and crazy. He makes me laugh so hard at the van for that record. Like, when I'm in the car, just ride, Sally, ride, till the smoke comes out your thighs. I mean, that shit is just funny. Like, I'm glad you get that, man, because Bootsy, I think Bootsy is amazing, man. And I wanted to make a funk record. I said, I'm going to get Bootsy, and I want to put Snoop on it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because Snoop, over the years, him and Dre, they would borrow from that Bootsy Parliament Funkadelic vibe. So it just felt right to me. It felt organic to have Snoop on there with Bootsy, with me.
Just going back to Bootsy for a second here, what about, how do you create beats when you have musicians in the room with you, like Fitz or Eddie or someone like Bootsy? How does that all work when creating the music for a track?
Well, you know what? Sometimes I'll have a rough demo, and we'll just have a rough demo of a track. I'll have some producers do a rough demo of the track, but then, Bootsy and I will discuss it, or me and Eddie will discuss it, and then I'll tell them what I want, how I really envision the track with them on it, and then they'll help me take it to the next level. And then we'll get rid of all the stuff all the stuff from the demo, just keep the rawness of it and let them just take it to another height. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you have rhymes that you go in with prior to that, or does the beat influence the rhymes?
You know what? A lot of times the beat influences the rhymes because it's kind of like, it's an old quote that I heard, and I don't even know if it's really Michelangelo, but the quote was that, he used to say that the sculpture was inside of the marble before he actually carved it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times the music kind of speaks to me that way too. But then I have other times where I'll do it without music because there's something inside there, inner rhythms that are going on, and I'll just write it without it. So it's all just based on what I'm feeling.
That's it. What's one of those tracks that you wrote before hearing any music, for this record at least?
Let me think about it. I don't know if any of them. Let me think. Let me go down the list. Not Leaving You Tonight was something that came up in my mind. I've actually been thinking about that record for. I know this is going to sound weird, but the Not Leaving You Tonight, the lyrics that I said in that song, I've been thinking about that for 20 years.
And did you always envision?
Yeah, I've been thinking about the lyrics, just the specific lyrics, like pick up the pieces and the different things. That phrase, pick up the pieces. Like I have been thinking about that for years. Like I wanted to put that in a record, and it just had to be the right record. And I finally found the right joint, and it put it in there. And it feels right to me. Isn't that crazy? Like one line.
Do you have other lines sitting around 20 years, like in a little book somewhere, waiting to be heard?
Not in my mind. I got it in my mind.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you told me that. That's right.
Yep.
We Came to Party. We're just going to go through a couple of songs here. We Came to Party. I mentioned the shout out to Claudine before, but it talks about hosting the Grammys in it, and I'm wondering how that hosting a show like that influences you as a performer, as an actor, as a writer. Does it change things, and do you bring things from your other careers into hosting, and how it changes the hosting gig?
Well, hosting definitely influences me in general because I'm sitting here and I'm listening to the Beach Boys, and all of a sudden now I like the Beach Boys. Like I never listened to the Beach Boys really. I thought there was a soda commercial, but but now I'm liking the Beach Boys, and I'm talking to Paul McCartney, and now I'm delving into the Beatles catalog, and I'm listening to Walrus and just different people, just the different people I've met. It just really kind of blew the doors off and the lid off of everything that I thought about as an artist, and made me realize that the sky's the limit in music, as long as it's great. Like Louis Armstrong said, there's two kinds of music, the good kind and the bad kind, and he said he plays the good kind. You know what I'm saying? and it's like, hosting the Grammys was an amazing experience. And, Quincy Jones told me, he said, you never, because during the process of making this record, I met with him and I sent him a copy of it. And he said to me, you can never make music that is more or less than you are as a human being, ever. So, evolving as a human being and, evolving as a man, I wanted my music to reflect that. I wanted my music to reflect where I'm at now and what I'm doing now and, all the things that I've seen, the places I've been, the people I've met. I wanted the music to have that feeling in it, and I think it does. I think it's as worldly and as well traveled as I am. You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
But it's still true. It's still true to who I am, though. It's still hip hop, But it's just hip hop without the governor of this quote unquote perception that some people try to maintain. I don't need that. I did away with all that.
Right. That's interesting. I was just thinking, I talked to a country band, the band Perry, days ago now, and we were talking about being poetic and being honest and the difficulty between the two? Because obviously the songs the words need to rhyme. You're trying to make something sound poetic, but you're also trying to stay honest at the same time. How do you ride that line?
You know what? It's so funny you said that. I think We Came to Party is a perfect example. When I say TMZ in my face and Oprah all on my couch, I mean, if I was 16, that would just be something cool to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's true. Now I'm hosting the Grammys. I'm really being true. When I talk on Give Me Love, when I talk about honestly, I'm afraid to give love, all of the different things, I mean, that's vulnerability that I'm showing. I mean, the record has to be, you're right, the record has to be honest. The songs have to be honest. And I think when you listen to my album all the way down, there's a truthfulness and an honesty that's there. Yes, I want to be funny, and yes, you want to have a good time, and yes, you want to do some sexy stuff, but it's honest. This record is honest. It's truth. That's why I called it authentic. It's authentic. It's like, there's no, I'm not like pretending I'm in Queens and now I've hosted the Grammys and now all of a sudden I'm rapping about being on a block in Queens. Like, where are we going with it? What I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you got to be who you are now. People know who you are now. I'm not going to fool anybody into believing that I'm the exact same guy that I was when I first came out with my first 3-4 albums. So why even go there? Do who you are now.
How would old 17, 18-year-old LL have reacted to the Brad Paisley thing that happened, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago? Would you have acted differently in response to it all?
Oh, of course. Of course. I think the response, but you remember, first of all, I would have never did the song because I wouldn't have been able to get my mind around it. I wouldn't have even understood it to do it. Like, because in order to be able to tell people, to be able to, basically what the song was saying is don't judge people based on symbols, on how you feel about the symbols. Judge people based on how they feel about the symbols. Don't judge a book by its cover. In other words, it's not about trivializing. It's not about trivializing the past, but it is about putting some of the baggage and the scars down and healing yourself with some of those scars so that you can move forward with some sort of a clean slate. If you feel like the playing field's unfair, then obviously emotional baggage is not going to help you with an uphill climb. No one, and like, so when people say to me, they're like, oh, well, how could you, you compared a do-rag to a Confederate flag, and it's like, first of all, what I was saying was not to trivialize the Confederate flag when you think about all the terrible things that are associated with that. But what I was saying is, when you look at someone like Trayvon Martin, and you look at what happened with this kid with this hoodie, and you think about the Million Hoodie March, clothing does matter. Symbols do matter to certain people. There are, as much as people, tried to like sweep it under the rug, there are African Americans who are judged by their clothing and by their baggy pants and by their do-rags and by their hoodies. And there is a prison industrial complex that is full of kids that got judged because of that. I mean, that matters. So to act like that doesn't matter or somehow that's trivial in comparison to the Confederate flag is not purely true. You know what I'm saying? There's another level to it. And, so to me, I don't think that we should judge people purely based on how they look or what they look like or where they live or where they come from. I think we have to deal with people based on their character and who they are as individuals.
That's good. I don't want to harp on it too much because we don't have too much time, and I know you've probably defended yourself for about a month now about the song, which is good publicity for the record, I guess, at the end of the day. But I do want to talk about going on tour because how do you have time to tour? Like NCIS would have probably wrapped 2-3 weeks ago, something like that, and then
no, NCIS wraps in a week.
Oh, you're not done yet.
No.
Okay, all right.
Wraps in a week. Yeah, wraps in a week, and then we're going on tour in about 3 weeks, I guess. In May 23rd. May 24th is the first. Yeah. May 24th is the first date. May 23rd is the setup date in Arizona, and to get it up and running and start rocking, and we're gonna have fun, and go on tour.
And what we do with every interview, we wrap it up with 5 quick questions, 1-word answers.
Okay.
Road or studio?
Oh, Wow.
I know. It's the same ones for everybody, though.
Yeah. Studio.
Lennon or McCartney?
Lennon.
Pac or Biggie?
Biggie.
When you hear a song, what usually hits you first? Lyrics, melody, or rhythm?
Lyrics.
Song you've written you're most proud of?
Wow. Man.
I know. Today.
I got so many to write. Today. Doing it.
Doing it. Oh, I like that. Someone tweeted me that song today. That's so funny. And in one word, LL Cool J.
Cool.